towards the left-right sequence at Brundle and Nelson for the first time in the race. Championship contenders. So we'll see what he can do. They're already making their way down into Murray's at the end of the first lap of the race though, and we'll charge up the very long centre straight, not quite as long as the back straight, which is nearly a kilometre long, the left straight, but it's a very long straight indeed. Cuthbert, Keir Jewis going through with Theo Edgerton, that move up at Agostini in third place. Fourth over the line made in. Rainford and Smalley were nose to tail on the way into Ridges, so Smalley in the 21 car looking pretty menacing in that 6th place. Will Martin 7th ahead of Oliver White in 8th. Matthew Graham not gaining anything on that first lap, number 16 still in 9th place with work to do. Good start from Jake Giddings, gaining 4 places up into the top 10 in the 41 car, so he's had a good start. Everybody safely through. So they make their way in this long 40-minute race through the infield for the second time in the race down towards Agostini. Once again, the infield. Boarding up. And side by side it is, as Will Martin getting up the inside of Adam Smalley. Now Adam was on the attack at the start of this lap, but he's ended up giving a place up. So it's a couple of good moves from 2 drivers, separate moves that we've seen on that infield run through the left-hander at Agostini. And nicely executed, so they're pushing on here. Will Martin getting ahead of Adam Smalley and trying to get himself up the order, so that will put him up into the top 6 in the number 10 cars. Another driver that not too many years ago was coming up through the ranks of 100 brake horsepower Ginetta Junior Racing, and now here he is with 5 times the horsepower. Just behind on the way to Cora Return, but he's got backed up. Well, 2 places gained on that lap for Will Martin, 7th to 5th in the number 10 car. Meanwhile, what about the gap from 1st to 2nd? It was 0.7 seconds. Over the line they go. Burton and Jewis, the gap looks smaller to me, to the eye, and over the line with the times that we see that a 1:52 for Burton. Jewis's time is a 1:51.7, so the gap has come down by 0.2 to just over half a second. It's the new fastest lap of the race for Keir Jewis, so he's on the attack now, the championship leader. And so too, those two are coming together in the first weekend of the season at Donington Park. We've got an attempted move here from Oliver White. He's trying to get the nose of his machine, his Redline Racing machine, through on Charles Rainford. That didn't quite work. Matthew Graham tucked in behind him in the 16 car, and that fast starting number 41 car, yellow and grey, of Jake Giddings, replaying the big screens of Will Martin's move to get ahead of Charles Rainford on the way through that cambered corner at the bomb hole, which was nicely executed. So the cars, the leaders, making their way now into the right-hander at Oggies, and still around about half a second, I would say, between the top 2, Gus Burton at number 57, number 26, Keir Jewis, and further back it is a good battle now developing between Charles Rainford in the 99 car and Oliver White. They're in different classes. Rainford is still the leading Pro-Am driver in that 99 car. He's 7th, he's slipped back a bit, but his nearest rival is Nathan Harrison within his class, car 27, which is 11th, and then 3rd in the category, that's White. He's dropped out in the number 9 car. Leaders go through. I think Gus Burton's responded on that lap to the pressure that was beginning to come from Keir Jewis, and indeed the gap's gone back out by 0.2 of a second, so it's back what it was 2 laps ago now to 0.7 of a second. 57 Gus Burton leads, 26 Keir Jewis is 2nd, 54 Theo Edgerton is 3rd, but he's slower than the top 2. They're in the high 151s. Theo in the 54 car slipping back a little bit in the 154.2s. sorry, 152.4s, and then 152.1s, a bit quicker than him for Malin and Martin in 4th and 5th places. So there might be a battle developing in this long race, still with 33 minutes and 40 seconds remaining. For it's going to be the final overall top 3 position. Meanwhile, Matthew Graham now starting to look a bit more menacing on the tail of Oliver White, both having dispatched of Charles Rainford, who is now down into 10th place, in fact, having lost a place as well to Giddings. He is, as I say, now leading Pro-Ams, but with all the Pro-Ams right behind him, Nathan Harrison and the 52 car of Whiteside. Onboard replay of this battle between Oliver White and Matthew Graham. Oliver White still just about coming on top of that one as they go down the Bentley Straight, and Keir Jewis looks a bit closer. The first sector times. Right goes to the Parc Fermé area, so he's heading back to the paddock. I'm afraid that's been his race done as the top 2 go through, and the gap has come down again, and it's slightly less than half a second now because of 151.605, a new absolute best lap of the race for Keir Jewis. So he's got the gap down to less than half a second. Good battle going on further back between the AMs. Nigel Rice, Ian Logie, who's come back up from the what was last place at one point. And Mika Stanley battling with them as well, the pro driver who's had a bad start to the race and slipped back in the number 5 car. So that was what was being replayed on the big screen. So 0.464 seconds, the gap from first to second now. 2 leaders swapping quick lap times here, but that'll be the best of all so far for Keir Jewis, starting to really apply the pressure now. He's the sort of driver that will really go for it as well. Nigel Rice and Ian Logie, 2 very experienced racers, still going at it in the AM class. Nigel's in the 15 car. And he's just ahead of the number 6 of Ian Logie, both having been passed by Mika Stanley in the pro class cars. He tries to make his way back up through the field, so the race leaders should be coming back into view anytime soon, heading out through the bomb hole and then back into my view at Coram Curve through the first sector. Gus Burton responding again with the absolute best first sector. Finishes as well, so that might come into his mind, but I doubt it. Keir is all over the back of him now as they make their way through the Wilson hairpin, about to accelerate back up towards the left-hander at Palmer, and the gap at the end of the lap was 0.4 seconds, but it looks even closer than that now as they spring themselves out of Palmer, accelerate down towards the left-hander at Agostini for the overall lead of the race. And through the first sector, barely anything between them, both in the 34.9s. Burton was the quicker of the 2 in that first sector on the previous lap, but barely anything between them that time. Will Martin, though, with the absolute best first sector of the lap so far. Number 10, having progressed up to 5th place, 1.8 seconds behind number 90, Josh Malin. So that's worth keeping an eye on. Martin having done the best lap of the race last time out as well, with 151.441. Bonus points available for the fastest lap per class, and that was 4/10 quicker than Josh Malin in the number 90 car. So the gap's 1.8 seconds, but it was 2.2, and it's beginning to come down pretty rapidly. We've got one off down
Nigel Rice was one of them.
Yeah, Nigel Rice. Now having a battle with Ian Logie, wasn't he? So he's gone off a cloud of dust for Nigel, and indeed it is Ian that's gone off as well in the number 6 car. So Rice and Logie were having that battle, and it might have got a bit too close for company, I'm afraid. So both of them have ended up on the grass. And that looks like the dust settings over the foam hole somewhere. And Nigel Rice has got significant damage to the car. The right rear side of the car and the rear bumper has taken a big hit. So, and steam coming from the bonnet, the radiator will have gone as well. So there's obviously some front end damage to the car also. And the